What's going on, everybody? I am back to break down this 8-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings in a FanDuel, giving you guys the top place to get in that green cash line tonight. As always, looking forward to it. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night. Fan favorite segment on the channel, my favorite play on both websites that's going to apply if I had to lock a guy in. Lock of the night. We've been on a roll with those until that last time out. We went with Jaren Jackson Jr. He really had a letdown. The Memphis Grizzlies ended up blowing out the Washington Wizards. But the good news is, to be honest with you, that's the first time I can remember a lock of the night flopping in a very, very, very long time. So, you're going to have that happen. Blowouts, injuries do happen, etc. Things happen. Players get ejected. But looking to move forward with it today, giving you guys the top plays. So, let's get into it. If you feel like I provide you with any value throughout this video, if you like the content, if it's entertaining, any of the above, if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't checked out the premium content packages over here on Patreon, I would highly encourage that you do so. If you are getting serious about NBA DFS, I do offer an NBA DFS premium content package. I also offer an NBA DFS prize picks player props package. Now, just launched. The sponsor of the program, by the way, is Prize Picks. So this video is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you haven't signed up over there, I will be releasing a Prize Picks videos today. Sign up using that promo code KJK DFS. There's also a link down below in the description. You will get an instant match deposit up to $100. Player props format, really fun over here. You can pick 2, 3, 4, 5 players depending upon how many you pick, how many you get right, in which format you play in. You can multiply your money by multiple variables over there. You can win a lot of money depending upon how many you decide to go with. But fun format. And let's go ahead and start getting into this one, guys. As always, we're going to do a game-by-game breakdown here. New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Biggest pieces of news in this game, we do have the entire Pelican squad pretty much questionable again as far as the core guys here. We have Jonas Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, all listed as questionable. Obviously, some very big pieces of news. If we do see Jonas Valanciunas miss again, obviously, big bump up to a Willie Hernangomez. We're going to be going right back to him. Brandon Ingram, with him being listed as questionable, that's going to be more minutes for a Garrett Temple. Also, some more usage to go around for guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jose Alvarado, etc. And the same can be said for Josh Hart. So, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Thomas Satoransky, Alvarado, and then Devontae Graham looking like he's good to go. I know he's been listed as questionable a couple times these last couple times out, but he's been able to take the floor. So keep your eyes on his status. But as of now, with all these guys being projected as being out in my projection model, Devontae Graham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker really grading out as some phenomenal plays in this spot. Devontae Graham, I've got him projected in the mid to upper 30s here, putting up 0.86 DK points per minute. He's going to grade out as a phenomenal value play. The same can be said for Nickeil Alexander-Walker at only a 5.2 price tag. And I do have Josh Hart projected in as well. Once again, grading out as a really good play. But I do have these guys projected for a lot of minutes and a lot of usage. Currently projecting that there will be no Jonas Valanciunas, no Brandon Ingram. Obviously, if those pieces change, those plays aren't going to grade out as such good plays to me in my projection model. So really got to keep our eyes on that news as far as the total in this game. This game comes with a 212.5 over-under. It's a 9-point spread in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it's really not fast up-paced game. It's really not a spot I'm looking to get too much exposure to be honest with you, unless those guys are ruled out, and that's going to open up some more value. But if they're all in, I'm not too intrigued here from a first look aspect. Now, granted, these projections will be updated. Jonas Valanciunas is only 8K. Brandon Ingram has dipped down to 7.7, so maybe they'll be grading out as better plays than kind of what I'm thinking in my head right now, but I just think on a slower paced game. My guess is that Brandon Ingram would be my favorite play if he does make the return here at a 7.7 price tag, but other than that, not really too intrigued. That's going to take a big hit to Josh Hart if he comes back, and Josh Hart's been priced up now. So, and then running it back on the other side, I will say the Cleveland Cavaliers do get a great matchup taking on the Pelicans. They really haven't been the strongest defensively. So, paying up for Darius Garland, I guess, could make sense in some tournaments. Evan Mobley, Jaren Allen getting exposure to one of those guys. They are pretty negatively correlated, though. And once again, with the pace of the game that this game is expected to go, I just do think there's going to be some better options as we go along the slate here. So, LA Clippers taking on the Indiana Pacers as far as a total in this game. This game right now comes in with a 217.5 over-under. It's a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers, so expect it to stay close. Expect it to be a decently paced game, but once again, not the highest total. Honestly, none of these games in the slate are really the highest shocking total, though. So when you put this in retrospect to the rest of the slate, it's not like we're going to be targeting some huge 230 games or anything. We have one 230 over game in the Houston Rockets Golden State Warriors game, and there's a high likelihood of that turning to a blowout based upon the spread right now. So just keep that in mind as we're going along here, the context. I mean, I'm going to be talking about these totals, not shocking, but You have to play the slate that you're given, and the slate today, there's not the highest total. So the good news is, a lot of these guys are going to be viable based upon that. And right now, one of the biggest interests for me on this slate is going to be Domantas Sabonis at this 9.8 price tag. Not on a back-to-back finally after that last time out. Has played very, very well since returning, and his usage is going to be through the roof on this Indiana Pacers squad right now with them dealing with all these injuries. We know that there's still no Malcolm Brogdon. There's no Miles Turner. Goga Patati went down with an injury last time out. OJ Brissett's listed as questionable. So, there could be even more usage to be going around. If Brissett's out, that's 23 minutes to go around in the rotation. If we see that there's no Goga again, once again, that's even more minutes to go around the rotation. Probably around like 20 minutes or so. So we're going to see a lot more out of an Isaiah Jackson, who's essentially going to be the backup to a Domantas Sabonis and becomes a pretty intriguing play. But, yeah, Domantas Sabonis right now is grading out as a phenomenal play for me at 9.8. He's like my top pay-up option on the slate right now based upon my projections, believe it or not, at his price tag. Take it on LA Clippers squad. And like I said, I just think everything goes through him. He's going to have a lot more rebounding upside, but there being no Miles Turner out there. We saw him pull down 18 and 15 rebounds the last 2 times out. A lot more assist upside and a lot more scoring upside, all the above. So, this guy's going to have legitimate triple-double upside every single time he takes the floor. And for that reason, really do have a lot of interest in Domantas Sabonis, putting up 1.29 DK points per minute. Like I said, the game's expected to stay close. He is the very first guy I'll be looking to play in my lineups in this one. Second guy is going to be Caris LeVert on that same Indiana side. Once again, the usage will be very high. It's just an efficiency problem with Caris LeVert. But we've seen him priced all the way up to 8.8. His price tag has finally fallen to 7.9. There's a lot more room for error now than there once was. And the shot volume and the usage should still be there. So, Caris LeVert, I do still have interest in. I know he's been a letdown. Maybe that keeps the ownership low on this guy. Maybe people are really just scared to go back to the well. And if that's the case, I will gladly do it. Because it's just a matter of time before this guy puts up 50+. And at this price tag, I'm willing to take the risk. Followed up by a Chris Duarte at 5K. Really don't like Chris Duarte. He grades out as actually my #1 play based upon upside at price tag for this Indiana side. I do like Domantas Sabonis a lot more from a pay-up option aspect, but Chris Duarte is just cheap enough to where he's dipped down from that 6.3 price tag once again. Going to be getting a lot of high usage with a lot of these guys dealing with some injuries, and he is the third guy in line for usage. Hasn't had the biggest game the last time out. Kind of flopped on us, but that was a blowout. He didn't get his full allotment of minutes. He only played 22 minutes. Once again, expect those minutes to ramp back up here. So I really do have a lot of interest on the Indiana side. The LA Clippers side also, though, grading out as some pretty decent plays for me. We know they've been dealing with some injuries for quite some time. I have Reggie Jackson at 5.3 projecting as a really good play. Reggie Jackson has not been the kindest to us, honestly, on the season. His minutes have been all over the place, so that's a big question. I've got him projected for right around 28 minutes, so if he's able to get up to there, really going to like him at this price tag. There are definitely no guarantees with this LA Clippers rotation right now. I'll tell you that right now, so just keep that in mind if you're playing him. This is definitely a tournament play, but Reggie Jackson and Amir Coffey, Marcus Morris expected to be back. These guys are all going to be pretty decent plays in what is expected to be high usage spots. Eric Bledsoe at 4.4. We've seen him playing some more minutes as well. Once again, grades out as a pretty respectable play for me. He's just really cheap. Putting up 0.91 DK points per minute on the season. I've got him projected to play in the mid-20s minutes. This can be versatile with its rotation once again. But he played 26, 27 the times before last time out where that game turned into a blowout. And he put up 24 and 37 DraftKings points. So I do think he's a decent tournament play. I also would be willing to look to an Ivica Zubac at 4.5. And I do think that Marcus Morris is expected to return here. So my top 2 plays are probably going to be Marcus Morris. And I think Amir Coffey continues to see a lot of minutes as well. He started and played 23 minutes in that blowout. Did Marcus Morris, kind of getting his feet back under him. But Amir Coffey and Luke Kennard continue to see quite a bit of minutes as well. Quite a bit of usage. This team, it's never comfortable playing these guys. I got to be honest with you. It's never comfortable, but we have seen Luke Kennard really step it up as late. He's a really good three-point shooter where you get that three-point bonus on DraftKings. So certainly worth taking some risks on in tournaments. And all these guys are worth taking risks on. I mean, like I said, those guys I just named, they all grade out as pretty good plays in my projection model. It's just a matter of do they actually get those minutes. The minutes have been all over the place. So it's a little bit risky, but I do think it's a risk worth taking, especially if Nicholas Batum is ruled out. He's listed as questionable. He didn't play Sunday. And if he's out, Marcus Morris, I think, continues to see more minutes. We see more minutes for an Amir Coffey, a Terrence Mann, and a Luke Kennard. Pretty much all those guys we just went over. So, yeah, I like Clippers side. It's tough, but from a projection standpoint, they do grade out as pretty good plays. It's just a matter of do they actually get those minutes. But what are we going to do? We can only guess, I guess, at this point in that rotation. But Memphis taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Next game on the slate. This game comes in right now with a 219 over-under. It's a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers, so expected to stay close. Expected to be, a decently paced game for such a small slate where the pace really isn't the highest. And we know we have some high usage guys on both sides of the ball. Now, Seth Curry did return for Philadelphia last game out. Played 32 minutes. He is going to be cutting into a Tyrese Maxey's usage, who we were seeing, really get a lot of minutes and usage with him being out. Still going to see the minutes for Tyrese Maxey, but I do think the usage could be down a little bit. And the same can be said for Tobias Harris at 7-8. So a little concerning about that, but we know Joel Embiid's going to be the man no matter what. He's going to have all the usage in this spot, 11-8 price tag. And again, it's expected to stay close, pretty up pace. Certainly does make sense to be paying up for him at the center position. I do prefer going to a Domantas Sabonis at a discounted price tag. We talked about him early on the slate, I will say. But if you do have the salary to get up to Joel Embiid, always going to be a good idea. The guy's putting up 1.29 DK points per minute on the season, 36 minutes projected right now in my projection model. So really going to grade out as a good play here is Mr. Joel Embiid. Then when you factor in the matchup taking on this Memphis Grizzlies front court, looking at my defensive half court and putback sheet over here on my premium content, can see that the Memphis Grizzlies overall have been a little bit of a tough matchup, I will say. Putbacks, rebounds, all that fun stuff. Steven Adams down low in the post does a pretty good job of holding down the paint. So that's the only downside I would say here. But still, Joel Embiid's pretty much matchup proof. So in a fast, up-paced game, in comparison to the rest of the slate, certainly still willing to go here. It's just a matter of, do I want to pay up for that? That's going to depend upon the type of value that we have on the slate, that New Orleans Pelicans view, news, etc. And then running it back on the other side, like I said, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and Seth Curry are all pretty negatively correlated. So I'd be mixing and blending these guys in my lineups because, when one guy's going off, the other guy can't really do much. And that's just kind of the way the usage is going to flow on this team right now with this Portland squad, or this Philadelphia squad. So for me, if I had to pick one of those guys to play based upon his price tag, my favorite right now is going to be a Seth Curry, being that he's the cheapest at a 5.3 price tag. I mean, that's a really nice discount off of a Tyrese Maxey in what, is a spot where they have similar upside. So for me, it's definitely going to be Seth Curry. Then you pay up for Joel Embiid next. Then it's going to be Tobias Harris. Then it's going to be Tyrese Maxey for me if I had to grade them out. Memphis side, Ja Morant's the number one, no doubt, 10-1. He has been paying off that price tag, though. Last time out, he only put up 44 DraftKings points. That game did turn into a blowout. However, I have a feeling if it would have stayed close, we would have seen him right in the same ballpark that we have seen him, right in the mid-60s DraftKings points. So, Ja Morant, certainly worth the pay-up option on this slate tonight. Again, as far as I'm concerned, some secondary options on this team. We've seen Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane really take a step forward with there being no Dillon Brooks. So that's number 2 and 3 for me on this squad. Once again, wanting to load up on these guys. Desmond Bane, I really do like him at the 6-1 price tag. Hasn't had the biggest game in the world in quite some time now, but I think it's just a matter of time before he goes out there and puts up 40. And he's at a price tag where you're going to be very, very happy with a 40-point fantasy point performance for him. So, once again, willing to go to him with there being no Dillon Brooks. I will continue to target him. And then I do like the Anthony Melton off the bench as well. We have seen his minutes in usage going to be cut to a little bit, I think, with Kyle Anderson being back. But the upside really is there for DeAnthony Melton. So, off the bench, certainly willing to get exposure to DeAnthony Melton. And you could play some Brandon Clark if you think Jaren Jackson Jr. gets in foul trouble or something, which he has been famous for doing. Brandon Clark could come in off the bench, steal some more minutes, and does great as a decent play as well off the bench. I will say with them starting to get more healthy, with these guys returning, like a Kyle Anderson, etc., these plays off the bench are starting to look a little less friendly to me. I definitely do like Jaren Jackson Jr. number 1, Desmond Bane number 2 for upside at their price tags, and then definitely do like going up to a Ja Morant. So that's going to be my approach in that game. Miami taking on Boston. Next game on the slate. This game right now comes in with a 210.5 over-under, 3.5 point spread in favor of the Boston Celtics. Once again, not a fast-paced game. Typically speaking, on a slate where there's some faster-paced games, I don't really like targeting Miami games because they really slow down the pace. But with this game, or this slate, not really having the highest of totals, I think this game kind of blends into the rest. And you can certainly be willing to get some exposure. Jimmy Butler is listed as questionable. And on the front end of a back-to-back, they might be resting him with an ankle injury, supposedly. So that's obviously some very, very big news. That game last time I went to triple overtime. He played 52 minutes. So if his ankle is indeed bothering him, might be a good game to give him a rest. So certainly keep your eyes on that. If he's out, we're going to see a big bump up in usage to a Tyler Hero and a Bam Adebayo. They're going to become top priorities on the slate. So certainly keep your eyes on that news of Jimmy Butler. Regardless, I like these three the best as is on the Miami side. They're going to really soak up all the usage. You're going to have the most upside. Now, Yurtsevin was ruled out yesterday with health and safety protocols, so I guess that's somewhat interesting for a guy that was playing a little bit of minutes. But I mean, since Bam Adebayo's been back, he's really been cut out of the rotation as is. So for me, that really doesn't move the needle too much for me outside of knowing that PJ Tucker's minutes are even more solidified than they already were. But PJ Tucker's never really the guy we've worried about his minutes. It's more fantasy point upside, but he's going to go out there and play like 40 minutes. So PJ Tucker, I guess you could give him a slight bump up, but other than that, I mean, Bam Adebayo is going to be my #1 overall play in this game right now at only a 7.5 price tag. With Dwayne Dedmon getting some backup minutes at the center position expected to be, I will say he grades out as a decent play for me at only a 3.2 price tag over here on DraftKings. For some reason, you know, Bam Adebayo got in foul trouble or something. We saw him play 18 minutes last time out. Keep in mind, that game went to triple overtime, but at a 3.2 price tag, I don't hate it. But we really need that Jimmy Butler news on the Miami side. That's going to determine our priorities if Jimmy Butler is in. Really going to like him at an 8.9 price tag. It's going to be the Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo show, so those two guys would become my top priorities. Running it back on the Boston side, speaking of a two-man show, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, 10-6 for Jason Tatum. We went there and put up 65 DraftKings points last time on a high up-tempo matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans squad. Had a really big game. I said this last time. I'm going to say it again. With Jason Tatum being priced up to 10-6, Jaylen Brown being priced up to 8.8, I am always going to prefer Jaylen Brown at his price tag. I just think these guys oftentimes have very similar upside when they take the floor together, kind of cutting in each other's usage a little bit. Both going to be performing at high rates here, but you get a nice discount on Jaylen Brown. So for me, going up to Jason Tatum in tournaments, if you have the value, is certainly valid. As looking at this slate right now, depending upon that New Orleans Pelicans news, and obviously news that comes out throughout the day, I don't think we're going to have the most amount of value on this slate. So Jaylen Brown's going to be my preferred option at that 8.8 price tag. You know, similarly priced to a Jimmy Butler, both very high fantasy point producers, and both, you know, pretty friendly price tags to be able to actually get these guys in your lineup. So for me, that's going to be the priority. As far as anyone else on Boston, it's really going to be Robert Williams, Marcus Smart for me. Both playing a lot of minutes, both getting a bump up in usage as of late. Robert Williams, especially at 7.2, we've really seen him start to take this front row seat as far as the Celtics starter. Al Horford becoming a, you know, more of a backseat guy in the rotation, which is a big, big thing. So do not discount that. Robert Williams is going to be a great play, really good fantasy point producer. And once again, certainly going to get the upside with him finally getting all these minutes in this rotation. So I really do like a Robert Williams in tournaments. Next game on the slate, we got Toronto taking on Atlanta as far as a total in this game. This game comes in with a 218.5 over-under. It's a 2.5 point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks, so expected to stay close. And we always are going to have interest in the Toronto Raptors, especially on a slate like this where we don't really have the biggest amount of value in the world. The pace of the games are always they're all kind of similar. We know the Toronto minutes are going to be there. So Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, all these guys are going to play mid to upper 30s in minutes, if not 40 plus, and all do produce at high rates. So right off the bat, I will say I do have a lot of interest in all these guys. Looking at their price tags and bringing it down from a priority aspect as far as, you know, the top guys that I would be looking to on this slate tonight. It's all going to start with Precious Achiuwa, believe it or not, at 3.4. He's going to play around like 17 minutes in my projections, so he grades out as a decent play, but, I mean, he only has center eligibility is the problem, so, like, I'd be lying to you if I said I really want to take up a center spot with Precious Achiuwa. Maybe a utility spot, last spot in my lineups, but he's not going to be a big priority for me. He does grade out as a decent value play. But overall, when I'm taking a look at the starters and who I'm looking to, first it's going to start with Fred VanVleet for me at an 8.7 price tag. His price tag's come way down as of late. At one point, he was priced all the way up in the 10K range when he was really balling out. Still getting a lot of minutes. He hasn't had the biggest games after returning from injury, but, I mean, still putting up a solid, you know, 48, 50 DraftKings points every single night and only an 8.7 price tag against an Atlanta team and a really good matchup against a Trae Young that is not good defensively. I will gladly jump on the bandwagon and take a lot of Fred VanVleet, followed up by an OG Anunoby at 7.4, followed up by Scotty Barnes at 7K. So all these guys kind of priced below Siakam, really grading out as good plays to me. And then, of course, don't forget about Gary Trent Jr. at 5.8. I mean, he's the best play at his price tag at 5.8. It seems kind of obvious at this point. Playing a lot of minutes. He's put up 42, 40, 53 DraftKings points the last 3 times out. And until they increase his price tag, I will continue to go right back to him over and over again. Good shooter, cheap on DraftKings, really easy to be wanting to get in your lineups. And once again, he is definitely the top play for me at his respective price tag. So wanting to get a lot of exposure there. Obviously, you want to be limiting your exposure a little bit if you're building, you know, one lineup to 2, 3 of these guys. Not all of them are going to get there, but There's a possibility they can. If there was ever a team there where it could happen, this could be it. Running it back on the other side, John Collins is going to be my favorite play on the Atlanta Hawks side. He's priced very, very friendly here at a 6.5 price tag. A guy that's putting up 1.06 DK points per minute on the season, over a fantasy point per minute. Really looking like a good play here, so it's all going to start with him from an upside aspect. And then second on the list, I really do like a Bogdanovic here at 4.7. Grading out as a really good play at that price tag. We saw him return from an injury. He's been ramping up his minutes, been playing right around 28 minutes a game, putting up 0.84 DK points per minute. Once again, the price tag is definitely commanding some interest here. And the same can be said for his counterparts in DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter. All these guys getting a decent allotment of minutes here, all producing at pretty high rates. They are a little bit negatively correlated, I will say, but all worth getting some exposure to in your tournament lineups, just based upon the fact that they're all in the mid 4K range, all going to get a decent amount of minutes. All do produce at pretty high rates here. And Clint Capella is the one I'm really intrigued at, 6.3. If we're going to see his minutes finally go up here, I don't know why he still hasn't really seen his minutes go up after returning from injury for quite some time now. And he was returning with an ankle injury. He's been restricted to right around like 26 minutes a game. If we somehow get confirmation that his minutes limit is going to be lifted off of him, that's some really big news because, I mean, we're talking about a guy that puts up 1.17 DK points per minute. I don't know why he continues to be capped, but he does. So just keep your eyes on that injury news. I do think he grades out as a decent play for me already at a 6.3 price tag. But I only have him projected for 26 minutes. And even then, that's kind of on the high side of what he's been playing at times. So, yeah, I would really like to play Clint Capella. Just a little bit scary. And then the obvious pay-up option, I mean, if they're going to stay in this game, is Trae Young at 10K. It's just a question of, is he worth the 10K price tag with some of these other pay-up options we talked about? I do think he grades out as a decent play overall for me. But I do have some other preferences, you know, like a Domantas Sabonis, a Jimmy Butler we talked about, a Jaylen Brown, etc. They just grade out as better plays. I know we're talking about some different positions. Fred VanVleet at 8.7, you can take the discount on. And I do have Trae Young following, not too far behind Fred VanVleet, but I would prefer Fred VanVleet at the price tag discount here. Sacramento taking on the New York Knicks. Next game on the slate as far as the total in this game. This game comes in right now with a 214.5 over-under. It's a 5.5 point spread in favor of the New York Knicks. So, once again, expect to stay close. Decently paced game. The Sacramento Kings have been terrible defensively, so I'm actually going to have a lot of interest here on the Knicks side, most notably Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. They've really been dominating all the usage, been playing a lot of minutes on this New York Knicks side. And when you're breaking down the Sacramento Kings from a defensive aspect, looking at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, they are second to last in the league in points per possession rank, 20th overall in half-court points per play rank, 28th in offensive rebound percentage rank, allowed 29th in putbacks. So they've been really, really bad. So I have a lot of interest in targeting some New York Knicks in this spot. Julius Randle at 9K, like I said, getting a lot of minutes. Definitely want to be going to him. RJ Barrett at 7.1, talked about it, but a lot of minutes, a lot of usage going his way. I do have a lot of interest in RJ Barrett tonight. And I do have quite a bit of interest in these other guys, in a Mitchell Robinson, in an Evan Fournier, in a Kemba Walker. They're all going to be grading out as some fun plays for me based upon this matchup tonight. And for that reason, certainly want to get some exposure. We saw Kemba Walker's minutes ramp back up to 30 minutes last time out. So for me, really going to be some good plays here. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, the starting lineup primarily. We've really seen Tibbs kind of start to go back to that heavy minutes starting rotation. So for me, I'm going to have a lot of interest in the Knicks. As always with the Knicks, it's a little bit scary saying that out loud. Their minutes can be a little bit inconsistent. I have some trust issues with the Knicks, but in this spot, man, you got to like it. So I'm definitely going to be getting some exposure here. And yeah, it is a little bit scary, but I really do like it. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, getting some exposure to these cheaper guys in a Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, the starting lineup. Pretty much whoever's in the starting lineup, I would certainly want to be loading up on from this New York Knicks squad. Running it back on the other side with the Sacramento Kings, we continue to see Harrison Barnes play a lot of minutes, and he's priced very friendly at a 6.2 price tag, so he's grading out as a pretty great play for me. Mid-30s to upper 30s minutes per game, so that's just, you know, naturally going to make you a pretty good play at only 6.2 price tag. So I do like some Buddy Hield in this one, and I do like a couple of his teammates as well in this game. It's not as if the Knicks are the best team defensively. They do play at a pretty slow pace, but Rashawn Holmes at 5K, also Buddy Hield at 5.5 would be the other spots that are grading out as some pretty great plays for me at their respective price tags. Buddy Hield, really, really risky. He's streaky. He comes in off the bench, so I will say that right off the bat. But he's a good tournament play. Rashawn Holmes' minutes have been somewhat limited at a 5K price tag, but we did see him get up into the 30s last time out, which is a big, big deal We've been seeing him play, right around 28, 24 minutes or so. We saw him play 31 minutes right now. And I've got him projected on the light end of things. I've only got him projected for 24 minutes right now. So I'm going really, really light on his minutes to be safe. And he's still grading out as a pretty great play for me for Sacramento. So I do think he's someone that's, I think he's worth loading up on at this point. We saw him get up into the 31 minutes. That's a big, big deal. So I do like Rashawn Holmes quite a bit here. And he has upside for more minutes than what I even have him projected for. So De'Aaron Fox says questionable. That's a big, big piece of news as well. I will end things off there. If he comes back, it's going to cut into Halliburton's minutes. If he continues to be out, Tyrese Halliburton going to be one of the best plays in the slate. Gets a big, big bump up in usage with there being no De'Aaron Fox. We saw him put up 59 DraftKings points last time. I was telling everyone, I know he was having a few bad games. You got to get him in your lineups. And I definitely wasn't wrong last time out. So if there's no De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton becomes a big priority again. Golden State Warriors taking on the Houston Rockets. We talked about it. This is going to be the fastest-paced game on the slate. Comes in with a 231 over-under. The only problem is the expected blowout possibilities here. 231 over-under, 10.5 point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors. I believe the Golden State Warriors are... no, they're not on a back-to-back. Played 29th against Brooklyn, so they should be good to go here. At their respective price tags, as far as the top guys that I would be looking to, I think Jordan Poole at 5.5 grades out as a pretty decent place for me right here in the spot, believe it or not. He's only 5'5". I've got him projected to play in the uppers 20 minutes, and if this game does turn into a blowout, he could play even more. So he's someone I'm certainly looking to go to. There's no Otto Porter off the bench right now, so he should get a bigger bump up in usage, believe it or not, with Porter being out. So I do like that. Damian Lee, Jordan Poole, going to see some more minutes, some more usage for the Golden State Warriors side. So Jordan Poole actually grading out as a really good play here for me. And like I just said, Damian Lee at only a 3-1 price tag should see some more minutes and some more usage as well, with there being no Otto Porter. If you want to go there in tournaments, I do not hate it. As far as anyone else that I'm looking to in this game overall, running it back on the other side with some Houston guys, we have Jayshawn Tate, Eric Gordon projected very friendly here at their price tags. Kevin Porter's only 6'3", Jayshawn Tate's only 5'3", Eric Gordon's only 4'6". The price tags have really dipped on these Houston guys, and for that reason, they're actually grading out some pretty great plays from here. Now, it's a little bit scary because the Golden State Warriors are the #1 team overall defensively in the league. But we talked about it. There's not a lot of fast up-tempo games. They still do have a 110 implied total. And like I said, these price tags are very friendly on DraftKings. Kevin Porter at 6'3", Eric Gordon at 4'6", Jayshawn Tate at 5'3". I mean, these guys are priced really, really friendly for guys that are seeing, mid-20s minutes or so, upper 20s minutes at times. It is a little bit dicey. The rotation has been a little bit thin. I mean, I could see why DraftKings is deciding to dip their price tags. But especially if there's no Kevin Porter. That's a big, big piece of news there. I keep saying big, big for some reason this morning, but I guess that's the kind of the quote of the day. Big, big, big. But Kevin Porter is a big piece of news there because if he's out, that's going to be a bigger bump up to those guys. Eric Gordon, Jayshawn Tate, Jalen Green, etc. And most notably, the biggest pay-up option is going to be Christian Wood at 8'6". Is going to be a guy with a lot of upside. If this game does stay close, there's a high likelihood it's because Christian Wood's having a big game. So willing to go there. Stephen Curry at 11K. I mean, this is going to be a dream spot for him if the game stays close. That's the question, though. Does the game stay close? Houston grades out as the second to worst team on my defensive shooting accuracy sheet in efficiency as far as giving up the three-pointer as well. 18th overall in the league. They're 30th in mid-range, 26th in long mid-range, 28th in short mid-range. And really doing a bad job around the rim as well. So Houston really doesn't get it done in any category for that reason. Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry, the big high usage guy, is going to be interesting. Klay Thompson, we've seen his price tag finally go up to 6K, so he's not grading out as quite of a good play as me, as he was in the mid 5K range. But we've seen his minutes get up to the upper 20s, so that's a nice thing to be seeing out of Klay Thompson. Finally starting to see more minutes. And once again, it's just a matter of if this game does stay close. If it does, Houston is the best matchup in the league you could ask for. Kevon Looney at 4'9", I think is a pretty interesting play as well. Talked about it, really bad around the rim are the Houston Rockets. So those are the guys I'd be looking to in this game, guys. Portland taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Last game on the slate. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is listed as out. Obviously, that is huge. Going to be a big bump up to a Josh Giddey. Most notably, Josh Giddey going to be one of the best plays on the slate at a 7-3 price tag, taking on a Portland squad that is bad defensively. Looking at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, Portland grades out as the third worst team in the league, 30th overall, worst in the league in points per play rank. So for that reason, definitely going to have a lot of interest in Josh Giddey. His assist upside, his scoring upside should go up even more in this one. It's a 217.5 over under 4-point spread in favor of Portland. Also going to have a lot more interest in a Lou Dort at 6K. So those two guys going to be my top two plays on the Oklahoma City side. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, really grading out as great plays for me. At the 6K price tag, Lou Dort, we know he can really shoot the three ball. And you take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of the equation. That is huge. That is huge. That's going to give a lot more minutes, a lot more usage to him. I do think that a Jeremiah Robinson-Earl is somewhat of an interesting play as well, putting up 0.78 DK points per minute. Got a projected play around 23 minutes, less than ideal, but at the price tag at only 3.8, he could certainly get you there. We've seen him go out there in 22 minutes and put up, near 30, above 30 DraftKings points, so worth exploring a little bit in tournaments. But for me, it's most notably going to be Lou Dort. It's going to be a Josh Giddey, and both those guys are going to be really, really great plays for me on this slate tonight. Followed up by Kenrich Williams at 3.6. Also just a very friendly price tag for a guy that does produce at a pretty decent rate, 0.82 DK points per minute on the season. Has been playing quite a bit of minutes. You take a Shai Gilgeous out of the equation, guy that plays a lot of minutes in this rotation. Do think we could see some more upside out of him as well. So a lot of interest in the Oklahoma City side on this game. And running it back on the other side, CJ McCollum continues to be priced very, very friendly at only a 7.6 price tag. He's grading out as one of the top plays on the slate for me. Really going to like CJ at this price tag. This price tag is too cheap, so I like him a bunch here. I also really like Jusuf Nurkic. 8.3 price tag for Jusuf Nurkic. Going to be a phenomenal spot for him taking on this Oklahoma City front court that I do not think can guard him whatsoever. Looking at the Oklahoma City putbacks, they are 24th in the league, 23rd overall in half-court offensive percentage. Rebounds as well, or 19th, I'm sorry, but still not good. So for that reason, I really do like Jusuf Nurkic, and I really do like CJ McCollum in this game. Both grading out as pretty big priorities for me on the slate, I'm not going to lie. So surprisingly, getting some exposure to this game quite a bit. Norman Powell, Anthony Simmons also getting a lot of minutes, a lot of usage now with there being no Nazir Little. So the entire Portland squad looking pretty good. It all starts with CJ McCollum and Jusuf Nurkic for me, but I'd also really be willing to get some exposure to a Norman Powell, a Robert Covington, and Anthony Simmons, all playing a ton of minutes. So loading up on them makes a lot of sense here. And looking over to FanDuel, before I let you guys go, of course, we got to talk about FanDuel. We talked about the overall slate, the overall top plays, but I always like to talk about FanDuel as well. Obviously, going to give you guys the top plays over here, giving you guys the pricing discrepancies. And a Josh Giddey for me is the first one that stands out right off the bat. He's only 5.7 over here on FanDuel. We talked about him being a great play on DraftKings at the 7K price range, so you can imagine at only 5.7 over here on FanDuel. Absolute smash play for me. Really going to like him. Speaking of the smash plays, Jusuf Nurkic at 7.9, CJ McCollum at 7.8, Lou Dort at 5K. We just talked about it over there on DraftKings, but over here on FanDuel, once again, really, really liking these guys at these price tags and really liking running it back on the other side with Portland. Jusuf Nurkic, 7.9. Going to be great plays. And then Robert Covington on FanDuel. I love playing Robert Covington on FanDuel. He has power forward and small forward eligibility. He's just famous for racking up a bunch of steals, and you get to 3 points per blocks and steals on FanDuel, and he'll do both. I mean, you can pretty much rely on a solid 10 fantasy points out of Robert Covington just on blocks and steals alone on FanDuel, which is a big, big deal. So certainly willing to get a lot of exposure there. CJ McCollum at 7.8. Going to like him a lot. Robert Covington, we just talked about it. Domantas Sabonis at 9.7. He is my top pay-up option on the slate tonight based on his respective price tag. You can play him at the power forward position on FanDuel with the power forward center eligibility. So he's really going to grade out as a great play for me over here on FanDuel. Would be a great play. And Norman Powell at 6.7. Going to like him a lot. I mean, the more I talk about it, I think that last game's my favorite game on the slate, and it's not even close to the Portland taking on Oklahoma City game. The minutes are going to be really solidified. The usage is going to be really solidified with some injuries. The Toronto Raptors guys really going to be great plays over here as well. OG Anunoby at 8K. We talked about the big minutes. Going to like him a lot. Scotty Barnes at 6.6. RJ Barrett at 6.5, taking on that Sacramento squad, is a very friendly price tag over here on FanDuel. Certainly would be willing to load up on a bunch of him tonight. We talked about that with the Knicks in that friendly matchup. Julius Randle at the power forward position is only 8.3. If there was ever a time to be attacking him, power forward, center eligible, this would be the matchup to do so. So once again, certainly willing to attack that price tag. It's just a matter of, is he worth it when you have guys like Bam Adebayo, Christian Wood, Jaren Jackson, a little bit cheaper. Robert Williams is only 7.4 over here. He's going to be a great play. Scotty Barnes, once again, great play. The Raptors are priced even cheaper over here on FanDuel, so they're just making it really easy on you to want to load up on some Raptors. And yeah, Fred VanVleet at 8.7. Once again, gonna like him. Halliburton, if there's no Fox, gets the big bump up. Anthony Simmons at 6.9. Gonna like those Portland guys. So yeah, a lot of it's kind of looking the same over here on FanDuel. And if anything, the price tags are even friendlier. So these guys I've been talking about liking, it's just that much easier getting. Gary Trent's only 6K on FanDuel. So yeah, Evan Fournier at 4.9, worth targeting. Amir Coffey, Eric Bledsoe. I talked about taking some risk on those LA Clippers guys. So yeah, guys, you get the drill. Paying up for Joel Embiid at the center position makes sense. You can only play one center, but I do like Yusuf Nurkic a ton. Already talked about it. I do like John Collins a lot at only a 7.4 price tag. So it should be pretty easy to be making lineups you really like over here on FanDuel. Willie Hernangomez, if there's no Jonas Valanciunas at 5.1, becomes a really good play. So yeah, guys, honestly feeling really good about this slate. Loading up on that Portland-Oklahoma City game, I feel like is going to be a strategy for me. And excited about it tonight. So that is all for me in this one, guys. Before I let you guys go, of course, though, I got to give you my lock of the night. Before we do, a quick reminder, the sponsor of the program is PrizePicks. Go ahead and sign up over there using that promo code KJK DFS. Link below in the description. You can get the referral link as well. And you get an instant match deposit up to $100. You get an instant match up to $100 when you use that promo code, guys. So check that out. Check out the premium content over here. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS, where you can gain access to that PrizePicks premium content package. You can also gain access to the KJK DFS NBA package or the combo package, where you can get both at a discount for $34.99. So check that out, guys. And yeah, got to give you my guys lock of the night. Let's go ahead and get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Josh Giddey. Taking on this Portland Trailblazer squad. We talked about it. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Big bump up for a Josh Giddey in his assist upside, in his scoring upside, in all the above. And the price tag is not high enough, especially on FanDuel, where they've got him criminally underpriced at only a 5.7 price tag. But I like the price tag over there on DraftKings as well. 7.3 in this matchup, taking on a Portland squad that ranks 21st overall against his position. Also, when looking at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, they have not been good defensively. Grayed out as the third worst team in the league defensively, 28th overall in points per possession rank. Take advantage of the matchup, take advantage of the usage bump, and get Josh Giddey in your lineups because he is my lock of the night. So yeah, guys, Josh Giddey, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a second to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated, guys. And I will be launching that PrizePicks video. That'll be coming out shortly. So if you enjoyed this content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to tune into the PrizePicks video as well, and you can sign up for those premium content packages. Patreon.com/KJK_DFS. Link below in the description. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight. If I'm able to go live tonight, we'll see you on the live stream. I'm hoping that I can. Mondays are a crazy day for me typically with the other work that I have going on in my life. So if I can, we'll see you then. If not, we will see you in the next one.